Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. Thank you so much for being here. This is video times two because the original video that I released under this title it didn't have any sound for reasons I just can't even explain because I don't understand. But in any case, we're going to redo it. We're going to revisit the topics. So there's just been a lot going on with sort of Trump and the Trump family, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to touch on a few things. First of all, most of you, I'm sure, have heard by now that Jack Smith or the Department of Justice has requested that Trump's legal team be held in contempt of court because apparently none of his legal team will attest to the fact that all of the documents that were taken have been returned because I guess bottom line is he lies and they can't trust him. So they did do a search, I understand, of 3 properties. And there, of course, were 2 documents with, secret clearance sort of titles. So, those got turned over, but it really does create a situation where nobody wants to attest. And for that, special counsel wants them to be held in contempt. From what I understand, just from listening to the news, apparently, even mob people have something called a custodian of records. Who keeps track of stuff from a legal perspective, but apparently nobody is willing to take on the job of custodian of records in this Trump situation. So that's a problem. So there's that. Trump has, his legal team have decided to not appeal the canceling of the special master and the voiding of Judge Cannon's interference. So I guess maybe that's the end of that. The FBI and the Department of Justice now have full access to all of the documents. Okay, so nothing's going well for you know who. It all kinds of sucks, but that's where we're at. Before I tootle off into the Trump family, I just want to take a quick moment to comment on. Hello, darling. Hi. Did you want to say hi to people? No, that was Twyla. I just want to take a moment to sort of give you an energy read on Kristen Sinema and her decision to become an independent. So energetically, this is what I can tell you. This was something that had been calculated or thought about for a while. This was not sort of some decision she just magically came to yesterday morning and decided she should announce it today. You know, there's been a lot of resistance to her and her behavior, and smart minds are saying that it was calculated in as much as she didn't believe she could actually win a primary. And so by registering as an independent, she kind of avoids a primary because she would be, the only candidate as an independent in the race, probably. She's up for re-election in 2024, and I have to tell you, she's not going to win. I will double check with my pendulum, but I see her kind of leaving politics. And honestly, the reason I believe is because she will have done what her big donors wanted her to do. She will have accumulated the rewards for that, and I believe that she's going to go forward into another career path. Her reputation as a politician is pretty much shot. Let's just check that out first. So pendulum is Kristen Sinema going to be reelected in 2024 back to the Senate? Is she going to be reelected in 2024? Mm-mm, she is not. So then the bigger question is, well, okay, but how does that impact, the Democrats, because they are, it's so tight um, in the Senate for them. But again, they're smart minds are saying that it really shouldn't impact it. And let's face it, I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? Because she wasn't voting Democrat in the important issues or the things that were really important to get stuff done, that you know she didn't do anything until she got something for it, is kind of where I'm going there. And so in some ways, as an independent, they're saying, in some ways, as an independent, she's actually going to lose some of her bargaining power. Now, she will have bargaining power still, because they need that vote. But it feels somehow as if she sort of is going to find, as the next year and a half unfold, that she really doesn't have sort of the clout that she thought that she would get. I think, part of what she was doing here was saying, well, I'm getting so much static from the Democrats, I'm just going to be an independent, because that way I'm not going to get static from anybody. I'm not going to get it from the Republicans. I'm not going to get it from the Democrats, because I'm an independent. I don't think that's actually going to work out as well for her as she thinks. But generally speaking, the Democrats are not going to be terribly adversely affected by this. I'm not saying they're not going to have some impacts, but it just doesn't feel like it's going to be um, maybe as horrible as it feels at the moment. All right, so I want to take a look and see how, the former guy is doing. Things are not going well for him. He lost the district attorney of Manhattan, that Alvin Bragg case, the criminal investigation into his company. So it's kind of cool, right? That now his companies are considered a felon. Kind of like that. It was only $1 million bribe, sorry, payment, penalty, but fine. I think that's the word I'm actually looking for. Um, but it does create a sort of a bit of a hitch, in terms of continuing to do business, getting banks to whatever. Now, having said that, oh, and before I forget, of course, Alvin Bragg has now picked up or resumed. He said it was never closed, but I'm telling you, it's resumed the investigation into those same charges against Trump and family. Okay, and that's going to go ahead, and I believe that's going to be successful. The real crunch for the Trump organization is going to come um, with the Tish James um, indictment and trial. Okay, that's where it's going to get really interesting, because she's going after bigger stuff in a more meatier kind of way. Um, But one of the things, speaking of which, that is kind of interesting, and it's one of the things that I'm going to be looking at, is the fact that, okay, so everybody knows that Tish James brought in some sort of an overseer who is monitoring all of the transactions that are going on within the Trump Corporation, and I believe family, because, they were trying to shuffle stuff and move stuff around. Um, but in the last couple of days, apparently Ivanka has been excused from that monitoring. Now, nobody knows for sure, but one has to think that one of the reasons that would happen, because there wasn't any sort of good reason that anybody can figure out, is that perhaps she is flipped. Perhaps she is giving information where information needs to be given. So I'm going to be looking at that. Um, and that's kind of where we're at and kind of where we're going to start. So let's start first of all with um, Donald Trump and see how he's doing. You know, he likes the chaos, but I think part of what's happening is his legal team is exhausted, and they're not going to be tolerating quite as much as perhaps they have in the past. So let's just take a quick peek and see how the Donald is doing. Trump current state, Trump current state, Trump current state. As I step into the energy, I can tell you he is terrified, like really, really scared. It stopped being kind of fun and a game when he realized that, you know what, he could actually end up in really, really big trouble. Um, so we're starting off with the Hierophant. And so this is the government. This is the government coming after him, and he's afraid. He's afraid because it's going to really, really impact. It's not only the money, but it's the brand, it's the status, that kind of thing. And before I forget, apparently, just within the last couple of weeks, he inked a deal with Saudi Arabia for a 4 billion with a B, dollar deal. Um, for some sort of a complex or something that they're going to be building out there. So then the question becomes, you know what? Like, is Trump going to try to escape? So we're going to look at that too. Okay. So this is a concern, right? He's concerned about the brand, his status, etc., because he knows what he has taken. He knows the dirty deeds. All right. He was such a micromanager. There's no way that anybody is going to be convinced that he didn't know everything that was going on in that company up to and including the whole time he was in the presidency. Nobody believes otherwise. And he's not going to be able to convince people that that isn't the truth. So the emperor is slowly but surely getting to a place where he has no clothes. Okay. So there is definite panic. The other thing that's really interesting is look at these two cards that came out back to back. So you have the Two of Cups and the Lover's card. This is about partnerships. Um, on the one hand, partnerships are falling by the wayside, even those who were, you know, true to him. Um, are starting to back away. He is so out of control. He is so angry. He is lashing out. He keeps going on True Social and confessing to stuff. I mean, he is become uncontrollable. And so even those who are trying to help him are kind of really getting to a place where they recognize they're impotent. There's not very much they can do because this guy is just so angry and so out of control. Um, and so that's interesting. Now, the other thing, the Two of Cups, I think, actually may very well represent that deal with Saudi Arabia. It definitely feels like for him that sort of feels a little bit like redemption, right? You know, well, okay, maybe he can't continue doing business because the New York thing, I believe, is going to be completely shut down. But, you know, he can move that business to Florida or some other state. And at that point, he can, you know, continue doing his deals. So that's going to be sort of an interesting thing to watch out for. But so on the one hand, the emotions that I'm dealing with, it's he's still in that sort of slippery, slidey. I can get away with this. I can deal with this. I can, you know, that Teflon. But the other part of him is actually getting really frightened because he saw how easily, how quickly the jury came back with a verdict on those 17 counts. And, you know, he is aware of what was at the trial, what was shown, etc. So he's in a funny place energetically. It's like on the one hand, he's really scared and really angry. And on the other hand, he's kind of still, you know, hopeful and thinking that he can live in this other kind of world. He can, I don't know. Maybe he thinks he can go to Saudi Arabia and be, I don't know, like a sultan or something. Who the hell knows with him? So let's just take a quick peek and see if he is going to try to leave the country. Here we go. Pendulum. Is there a plan that is either formulated or being formulated in terms of Donald Trump leaving the United States to avoid the law, basically, just avoid all of the legal troubles he is in? Is there a plan being formulated for that? Okay, so that's a pretty strong yes. The question, is he going to be successful in that? He's not. And I can tell you that when I recorded this video the last time, one of the pictures I got was literally him being stopped at the airport. Now, I don't believe that's actually tangibly going to happen, but the question it did prompt me to ask was, is Donald Trump under surveillance by the Department of Justice, the FBI? Is he under surveillance that he is unaware of at this time? And that's a really strong yes. Okay. Let's just ask a couple more. Is the District Attorney of Manhattan going to, are there going to be indictments coming as a result of the reactivated or heated up investigation into those criminal charges against the Trump members of the family? Are there going to be indictments? Yes, there are. And are there going to be convictions? Yes. Is Donald Trump going to be convicted as a result of charges brought by the Manhattan District Attorney? Yes. Eric Trump? Yes. Don Jr.? Yes. Ivanka? Yeah, I'm just not surprised. As you can see, the pendulum is moving towards still. So for whatever reason, there hasn't been a decision made yet with regards to Ivanka. Makes you wonder who else she's talking to. Okay, let's take a look at the corporations. Okay, so as I said earlier, a little gleefully, I will admit, that there is, the Trump organizations in New York are now a felon, right? They have been charged and found guilty. So I want to know, and I really, as I said earlier, I think it's the Letitia James thing that's really going to create big troubles, if you will, for the family. But let's just take a look at overall where the company is kind of going, where what that looks like, what's the trajectory of that. So trajectory Trump Corp, trajectory Trump Corp, trajectory Trump Corp. Corp. Well, alrighty then. Okay, starting off with the Knight of Wands. Okay, so there is a lot of energy behind these cases. It may feel slow, it may feel sluggish, it's driving everybody crazy. but there's a lot of energy, a lot of information, a lot of documentation. So the corporation is in trouble and will continue to be in trouble. Um, you have the government stepping in, and the government monitoring very closely what was taken, what was stolen, where the infractions were, where they sort of just strong armed themselves through business, whether, where they had double books, triple books, God only knows, where they were, taking from here and putting it there to avoid taxes, that kind of thing. All right. The government has the goods on him. And this, for the greedy king, is the result for the corporation. The greedy king is going to watch the death and demise of that company. It will be probably reborn in another state, but it will have lost a lot of its panache. It just won't have the status that it did. And there's ultimately going to be a lot of sadness and broken hearts in the Trump family as a result. Because again, like daddy, they have managed to sort of slide through life, really, really not being held accountable, whether it was, Ivanka Trump when she was younger screaming, "Don't you know who my daddy is? He'll destroy you." Or whether it was the boys thinking they were just, better than anybody else because their last name was Trump, whatever it is. This is going to come back, and they're finally going to feel karma snapping at their heels. All right, let's take a look at Ivanka. I mean, bottom line, has she flipped, right? That's what we all want to know. Sorry. But it's a Wheel of Fortune, so I really wanted to pick it up because I gotta think, maybe not such good fortune for the girl. All right, let's focus in on Ivanka and see what we can see. Basic question. Has Ivanka flipped? Has Ivanka flipped? Has Ivanka flipped? Of course, you understand all of this is just for entertainment purposes only. Now, you all know when I put cards back in my deck, I sort of spread the deck out and then I randomly insert them. And so when cards come up twice like that, it means something. So this is what was motivating her, the Ten of Cups. She was motivated because she is trying to protect herself and her family. There is also a real sense of reluctance on her part to continue to engage, literally, like with her father, with her brothers. Um, it, it, the feeling is like this, like her and Jared are like done. They're washing their hands. They don't want to play this game anymore with him. The nonsense surrounding Trump and all the problems is putting a spotlight where they don't want a spotlight put. Let's not forget, Jared has that. That's another $4 billion or $2 billion management thing that he's doing for Saudi Arabia, or whatever other country it might be. Sorry, I'm not really good with those countries and how they break down. The fact that, Trump has decided to start having dining with known anti Semites can't be going down really well in a Jewish household, of which, Jared and Ivanka are. It just feels like the dad, has crossed a few too many lines, and she really, really, this is the thing to understand about Ivanka. She of the children, she is the one that is most like her dad. And so she also has that really uncanny ability to know when it's time to pull back, slither out, do whatever needs to be done to retreat. And so that's what's going on with her. But look here, she also got the Death card and she also got the Three of Swords card. So the reality here is that I want to say, yeah, you know what? She has, and she is trying to bring an end to um, the crazy as it pertains to her and her family. Um, I can't make a judgment or even render an opinion about what kind of a mom she is, but I can tell you energetically that she will do everything and anything to save that marriage. She will not put her children through a divorce. The scars she carries from her parents' divorce are enough that she is not going to do anything to jeopardize that marriage. And her intent and her drive is to keep the family intact, and she would do whatever needs to be done. So it very definitely feels like she's spilling the goods to the authorities, and Lord help you, she's got a lot of information. And again, when you're talking about a mama bear trying to salvage or save a family, their children, their marriage, that can be a force to be reckoned with. There's a lot of information, and she's sharing a lot of information. According to the cards, it definitely looks like she has a lot to say and has been busy saying it. Okay, so again, super interesting there. I'm going to pull out my pendulum and sort of stick my cards back. Oh, the other cool thing that's been happening, just in case you missed it, is that all of this week and apparently next week, um, Rudy Giuliani is in his hearing with regards to his his Washington law license. And it definitely and looks and feels that he's going to lose it. And I think when he loses it, the other law licenses are going to follow. I also think that could very well send a signal to other lawyers that were in the Trump circle um, and their law licenses. So very interesting. Also, as you know, the January 6th committee has announced, well, they haven't announced, it leaked, that they are looking at 4 other people in addition to Trump. Giuliani is one of those other people. So, yeah, interesting time. So, the hearing for Giuliani should go through all of next week, and then hopefully with the next week or the week after, we'll get an answer, or he'll get an answer, and we'll all know it. Okay, pendulum. Has Ivanka been communicating with um, the with Tish James and that investigation? Has she been communicating with them? Yes. Is she handing over significant information? Yes. And is that information going to strengthen an already strong case? Yes. Are there going to be indictments as a result? Yes. And are there going to be convictions as a result? Yes. Now that also, the Letitia James one, I believe, is also with the corporation, but it feels as if there's something that they're also going after members of the family, I think. Whatever that is, it's going to bring them down. Make no mistake about it. Let's just ask because we're nosy. Is Rudy Giuliani going to lose his law license? Yes. When it is all said and done, is Giuliani going to have a law license in any state in the country where he can practice? No, he's not. Okay. The January 6th committee has, I think it's December 21st, that they have announced that they're going to be releasing their report. There's talk about, they've said that they're going to recommend criminal charges. Are those charges sort of likely to fall under the umbrella of the work that Jack Smith is doing? Yes. And while we're at it, let's just ask, are Trump's lawyers going to be held in contempt of court? Is that actually going to end up transpiring? Because there hasn't been a hearing yet. It looks like yes, in fact. Now, again, they don't get tossed in jail. They get charged fines. And, how secure are they about the fact that Trump would pay them? Do they want to take any more on? I don't know. Okay. That's it, except to say, congratulations, Georgia. You did it again. Absolutely brilliant. Raphael Warnock is on his way to the U.S. Senate for a 6-year term. Congratulations. You have, elected him 4 times now. And that's good. It definitely feels like Georgia's a little bit more purple than the Republicans want to admit. So that's a good thing. Okay, quick little housekeeping things. I do not solicit readings on WhatsApp. I'm not on WhatsApp. The only place you can find me is through YouTube and through the email soulprint888@gmail.com. It's the only way you can reach me for a reading. If you want one, send an email to that address. It's in the description box below. Just requesting reading information. I'll send it out to you. I am currently booking mid-January. Secondly, I am going to be releasing a channeled video somewhere between Christmas and New Year's. I'm just going to do a channeled reading and get some insights and guidance as we roll into 2023 and what that year holds for us and what we can expect and anticipate. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas and people are busy. So my videos may be a bit more sporadic throughout the holiday season. But for right now, I anticipate that I will be back next Tuesday like normal. So we'll go from there and take it from there. Oh, and final thing, I checked my numbers just before I came on here. I need 10 more people to subscribe, so I will hit 10,000 subscriptions. So listen, if there's 10 of you out there who haven't subscribed yet, if you feel inspired to do so, do so. And I am working on putting together a pet parade for the holiday season. So that's going to happen too. Listen up. It's the weekend. It's Friday. Take good care. Have some fun. Get into the festivities of the year, however you celebrate. And take care and be well until I see you next time. Bye-bye.